We are live for another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down PFL Round 1, Part 4, 2025. They really should have come up with a better name than that, but it is what it is, and here we go. We've got 9 fights on this card, so it shouldn't be too long of a video. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. I want this one to be short and sweet. I've only got one bet so far. If you want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, all that good stuff, it's in my Dub Club. It'll give you the link to the Discord and all that stuff. Link in the description of this video. Couch Warrior Pod is the promo code, and that should get you 20% off if you subscribe for your first month. And then you could still join the Discord for free as well for the free section. There's still 300 people in there. A bunch of them are still free members. There's a bunch of channels you can use, and we all talk fights in there. So you can still come check out the Discord for free. But if you want my bets, that's behind the paywall. You got to go through Dub Club, and the link is in the description of the video. And like I said, I've got only one bet so far for this card. Let's pull up the fights, though, and we can jump right into it. There we go. There we go. And there we go. All right, first fight of the night, we've got Polizzi versus Rafael Xavier. Polizzi 11-4-0. Oh, and what's up, Glenbot? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for tuning in. Polizzi 11-4-0. He's going to be 33 years old, 6 feet tall with a 72-inch reach. On the other side, Xavier 13-8-0. He's going to be 34 years old, so he's 1 year older. He's going to be 1 inch taller, and I don't have his reach in front of me. So this is an interesting fight. For me personally, like, I thought I would like Polizzi because I always like Polizzi. That guy has made me a lot of money after he left the LFA and he went to Bellator and then continued his career there. I made a lot of money backing him as an underdog in a lot of different spots. He's the guy who's just really grindy. He's not the most skilled. He's not the best striker. He's very, very hittable, but he's got good cardio, good pace. He's always shooting takedowns. His wrestling is good. The control is good. Jiu-jitsu is solid, nothing special. And then on the Xavier side, I wasn't super familiar. And then I was watching him back, and honestly, the guy's pretty good. There's not a ton of tape, like recent tape of his takedown defense being tested. I mean, Simeon Powell tried a few times. That was a really close fight. You could have given it to Xavier. He was able to drop Powell, hurt him a bunch. Had a really good performance, but in terms of counter grappling, there was just a little bit there. Powell, not really a big grappler. He's more of a striker, mixes everything up well, but I'd say he's mostly a striker. And then you go to the Pavel Langer fight. He did lose that. He lost that by decision. Not the best look, and he did get out grappled there. So Polizzi has a path. He definitely has a path, but I can't do it at chalk because on the feet, Xavier is going to be way better than him. He's going to be a much better striker, much more dangerous. I think he hits really hard, probably has the better chin out of the two of them too. Polizzi's been hurt before, been knocked out, been finished. And I just think that if Polizzi can't get the takedowns here, Xavier's going to run away with this fight, whether it's an early knockout, a knockout in the second round, or even a decision where he lands more damage in the first 2 rounds, then maybe gets out grappled late. I think that's possible too. But for me at the current line, it has to be dog or pass. I wish it was Polizzi who was the dog because I'd be happy to play him there because like I'll still pick him. I'll fill him in here as with a decision because I think most likely, he probably gets cooked in the first round. And then he's able to start getting his takedowns going in the second and the third. Xavier slows down, and then Polizzi's able to just grind out a decision. I think that's the most likely outcome. But at minus 160, I'm not willing to lay that chalk, and I don't really want to mess around with the props. The decision prop isn't much better, I don't think. And I really do think that Xavier is live to knock him out as well. So dog or pass. I'll pick Polizzi, though, and I don't expect to have any action unless something crazy happens with the line. Next up, we've got Rodrigo Nascimento versus Abraham Babley. Nascimento 11-3-0, 32 years old, 6'2" with an 80-inch reach. On the other side, Babley 5-1-0. He's 29, so he's 3 years younger. He's going to be 4 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 6-inch reach disadvantage. What's good, Tristan? Good to see you, brother. Always good when you tune in. So this is an interesting one. Babley didn't look that much smaller at faceoffs. I was looking at it maybe like an hour ago. He didn't look that much smaller. He didn't really look 4 inches smaller than Nascimento. So that's good considering I kind of want to bet Babley. I'm considering it. I'm going to pick him to win the fight. It's tricky because Nascimento is a much more experienced guy. He's fought at a much higher level. He's fought the much higher level of competition. He's clearly got the jiu-jitsu upside here, really high level jiu-jitsu. So, you know, he probably should be the favorite, but like, I'm just not high on his game overall. On the feet, his striking's not bad. He's got decent boxing. He has a good jab, but he's very slow, very plotty, very flat-footed, very hittable, and he does slow down. The cardio isn't the best. His wrestling is fine. It's nothing special. It's decent. He could get guys down to the mat. But Babley, I know he's green, but he's 29 years old. He's improving fight to fight. You can see that in a lot of his earlier fights, especially he was doing a lot of wrestling. He mixes that in with his game on the feet. He's very light on his feet, kind of the opposite of Nascimento. You see him jumping around. You see some lateral movement. He will have moments when the fight progresses that he slows down and starts to be a little flat-footed too, but his movement's much better. He's the lighter guy who's lighter on his feet. I think he's going to be much faster on the feet. And I like his striking. His striking's solid. I would even say he might be the better all-around striker with the kicks. His kicking game is good. If we're just talking boxing, it's probably pretty close. Like I said, Nascimento, a pretty good boxer, but Babley going to be faster, going to have the movement, could frustrate Nascimento on the feet. And like I said earlier, he's got pretty good offensive wrestling of his own. He's used it in plenty of his other fights. He didn't use it against Trabelsi because Trabelsi's an extremely high-level wrestler, so that makes sense. He used it defensively there, or tried to, but offensively, like, he can get takedowns too, and maybe he could take down Nascimento if he wanted to. I just don't know if that's the best game plan. That's kind of giving Nascimento his best chance for victory. I think if I'm Babley, or I'm in Babley's corner, I'm telling him, just stick on the outside and just use your kicks. Use the leg kicks, go to the body, go upstairs, throw some hands, and just keep moving and make it hard for the guy to find you. Because if he does that, I think this is a winnable fight for Babley. So I am considering the Babley money line. I'm also considering the over. It's kind of correlated to Babley because I don't really see Babley finishing Nascimento, but I could see Nascimento finishing him because I think Babley wins. Also kind of like the over. And then that it's about the same price. And then that way I'd be covered if Nascimento ends up winning the decision, but it'll be so annoying if I play the over and then Babley finds a way to knock him out. That would suck. So as of right now, I'm going to stay away, but I might talk myself onto Babley. I just think he's definitely got the higher ceiling, and I just think he's the better, like, I don't know if I can say better all-around fighter, but that's kind of how I feel, that he's the better all-around fighter. Nascimento's the more experienced guy for sure, and the jiu-jitsu is a much higher level, but my gut's telling me Babley gets it done. My brain's telling me Babley gets it done. So he'll be the pick, and we'll go by decision. All right. Before I move on, we got Vulcan in the chat. What's up, Vulcan? Asking, do you break down one championship MMA fights too? So it all depends on the week. You know, some weeks are crazy. Some weeks are a little bit lighter, and I have the time. In terms of ONE FC, there's only 2 MMA fights on it. So I am hoping to get there. There's a Risen card on Sunday that I really want to tape because it's a really, really good card, like a sick card. If you're not familiar with Risen, I would suggest checking it out. There's a lot of good fights there. But for one, I'm just seeing 2 fights, Sebastian Kadestam and versus Issy Fetekafu. Don't remember Issy too well. I know Kadestam. He's a great striker with a ton of power. And then the other fight, Lucas Gabriel versus Lipeng Zhang. I know Gabriel's a beast. Zhang's not bad either, but I have to tape before I can give you any opinion. Yeah, I won't have a video for it. That's for sure. Definitely won't have a video. But if you're in the Discord, I'll talk about it there if I end up making a play. It is going to be behind the paywall if I make any bets, but if I'm taping it and just giving out my thoughts, I might do that in the free regional discussion. We'll see. But ultimately, any bets I make are behind the paywall. And you're saying you like Issy and Lucas Gabriel, so I'll definitely keep an eye out. On first glance, wiki capping, I do like Lucas Gabriel. Issy, I need to look at a little bit. But all right, let's move on. We got Sullivan Cauley versus Marcelo Nunes. Cauley, he's 6-1-0, 28 years old, 6'3" with a 74.5-inch reach. On the other side, Nunes, 11-2-0. He's going to be 36, so he's 8 years older, same height, but he's going to have a 1.5-inch reach advantage. I like Cauley here a lot. I think that he should get this done. I think he should get it done dominantly. And I have a major problem, honestly, with how people are breaking down this fight. I just don't understand. I'm seeing a ton of people picking Nunes, and they're saying, oh, Luke Trainer was able to submit Cauley, so Nunes obviously is going to be able to submit Cauley too and take him down. And like, I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell are you talking about? How is Nunes going to take Cauley down? Cauley's a wrestler. That's his background. He comes from a wrestling background. First of all, he's got good defensive grappling. He's got good offensive grappling. Takedown defense hasn't been tested a ton, but I mean, I'm very, very not certain, but I'm fairly confident that Nunes is not going to be able to take this man down. Nunes is not a good wrestler. He is not taking down anybody good. And I mean, Bevon Lewis lateral dropped the guy. Bevon Lewis lateral dropped Nunes. He took him down with a trip also. And then Nunes also pulled guard at one point. Like, come on. He's not taking Cauley down. Cauley's got all the offensive wrestling upside here. So what does that mean? That means he can dictate where the fight takes place. If he thinks he's got the striking advantage, and I think he does, I think he does have it, then he can keep it on the feet. If Nunes does something and on the feet and Cauley's uncomfortable, he can go for a takedown. I'm going to be nervous because Nunes could submit him off his back. Nunes is a dangerous grappler. He does have good jiu-jitsu, but I think Cauley can stay safe also. I think Cauley can land ground and pound. Don't forget, Cauley's 28 years old. That Luke Trainer fight was his 6th ever pro fight. That was in 2022, I believe, or 23. Cauley was 26 or 25 years old, and it was his first major step up in competition. I was on Luke Trainer there because I thought the price was nuts, and it was nuts. But at the end of the day, Luke Trainer's like 6'6", and he's a really well-rounded fighter. He's much better than Nunes. I think he would kill Nunes. So for me, that means nothing that Luke Trainer submitted him, and especially that early in his career. I think that Cauley is the much better fighter here. The only skill he's giving up is a jiu-jitsu. I think he has the better cardio. I think he has more power on the feet. He's the better striker. He's clearly the better offensive wrestler. I don't think Nunes has the skills to take him down. So for me, it's Cauley here. It's Cauley all day. Of course, I'm a little concerned. He's not the most active fighter, and maybe Nunes can lock in a sub. Like I said, he's dangerous, but I think Cauley should be fine. I think Cauley should get it done. I'll go decision, but I can see him knocking Nunes out. Actually, let's go Cauley round 2 knockout once Nunes is a little more tired. I like that. Let's see what we got here. Wilkinson saying, yes, he's training with Robert Whitaker. Oh, that's good to know. Glenbot, can Williams win a grappling-based decision? We'll talk about it now. I don't think so, but we'll talk about it. Cauley, one pick I like. Yeah. So far, that's the only one that really stands out to me. After that, we got Oleg Popov versus Karl Williams. Popov originally supposed to fight against Valentin rematch. Now we get Karl Williams. Popov is 19-2-0. He's 33. He's 6'2" with a 77-inch reach. Williams is 10-2-0. He's 35. He's 2 years older, 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. So at faceoffs, I was pretty surprised. I don't know if it's the sneakers or what it is, but oh, and thanks for subscribing, Volcan. I appreciate that. I don't know if it was the sneakers or what, but Williams looked a lot bigger than Popov, which I did not expect. But for the most part, I don't really understand how Williams wins outside of Popov, like completely gassing, but he's looked fine. You know, I always thought he might be gassy, but he's had tough fights where he went all 15. I mean, the Linton Vassell fight went all 15. The Devion Franklin, Steve Mowry, he was the guy who got the finish later. I think I had Mowry there. I thought it would be the opposite. So it's like, I don't really think he's got that much of a cardio problem. Maybe Williams has the better cardio overall, but I don't really know if it's going to help him that much. On the feet, I think Popov is a better striker. Really nice jab, really solid combinations. He's not the highest output guy, but neither is Karl Williams. Karl Williams isn't much of a striker either. He's not bad. He's solid, serviceable for sure. And maybe he can be a little competitive, but I think Popov will be the better striker. Popov's going to hit harder, and he's going to have the better striking defense. And then Williams is a wrestler. That's his game. He takes people down and just grinds them out. But do I really see him taking down Popov at a high clip and just holding him down and grinding him out? I'd be really surprised. So if anything, I think Popov can take him down. The problem is there's not a single lick of tape of Williams getting taken down. No one's done it. The one like good wrestler he's fought, what was on the Contender Series? What was his name? Jimmy Lawson. So Jimmy's a wrestler. Jimmy didn't even shoot. Williams was the one shooting that fight. Lawson didn't shoot once. So I don't have any tape on his takedown defense, really. I don't really know what it's going to look like. So it's tricky. I mean, on paper, with what I know and taping it, Popov should win. But then, like, part of me is just like a little bit nervous to lay the chalk on. I thought I would like it and lay the chalk, but part of me is nervous because, like, Williams looks big, has good cardio. You know, he's been improving a little bit, but he's also 35. So he's not like a 29-year-old where we can expect improvements fight to fight, or like a 25-year-old. He's 35. So I don't know how much more he's going to improve. And I just think that Popov has all the finishing upside. I think he could knock out Williams. I would not be shocked. And I think he can grind out Williams as well. Like, personally, I think Linton Vassell is probably a better wrestler than Karl Williams, and probably a better striker, and probably stronger and more physical. And Popov made pretty easy work of him in the grappling. So I tend to think Popov's going to get it done. I lean towards a decision, but I don't know if I'm confident enough to actually lay the chalk. Not going to waste too much time on this one. What's up, John? Good to see you, bro. Not going to waste too much time on this one. We have Alexandr Romanov versus Tim Johnson. Romanov, 18-3-0, 34 years old. He's 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. Johnson, 18-11-0. He's 40. He's 6'3", so he's 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. Romanov should run through him. I think Romanov can take him down, ground and pound. I don't really think he's going to sub Johnson. I don't actually rate Romanov's submission grappling all that highly. He's very just low level, I think. He's just a brute. He's definitely improved his game. He's a better striker than he used to be, but he's still not the best. But he's a good wrestler. He's very physical, very heavy on top, very difficult to get out from under him. And Tim Johnson is just ancient at this point. He's 40, but in fight years, he's like 80. He's taken so much damage. He's hittable. He's slow. He still has a lot of power, but I think Romanov should be fine. I think Romanov takes him down, ground and pounds him at some point. I'm not sure what round, probably early. If this leaves the first round, if this leaves like the first half of the fight, the first 7.5 minutes, this is going to be a really weird fight because Romanov is not that good of a striker. Tim Johnson can probably compete with him standing, and Tim Johnson still hits really hard, so he's still got that power. Would I be super shocked if he knocked out a gassed Romanov? I wouldn't be. So I'd be careful throwing Romanov at -800 in your parlays, but he should get it done. We'll go Romanov. How about TKO round number 2? All right, next up we have Karl Albrektsson versus Simeon Powell. Karl is 14-6-0, 31 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. Powell on the other side, he's going to be 10-1-0. He's 26, so he's 5 years younger, going to be 3 inches taller, and he's going to have a 10-inch reach advantage. So super weird fight because Karl is probably the most inconsistent fighter I know. How on earth do you have wins over Vadim Nemkov, Dovlet Yakshimuradov, guys like that? But then you have then you get knocked out by Chuck Campbell. Chuck Campbell, who's 40 or 41 years old, doesn't knock out anybody. Lost in the PFL against what's his name, Elkana. And then he knocks out Karl, and it was a nasty knockout too. I didn't get to watch the full fight. I only saw the clip of the knockout, but it was exactly the kind of combination that Simeon Powell is good at. So that's concerning. I think that the price, like -200, is a little bit wide because when Karl is on, Karl is a really high-level fighter. He's a good fighter, and he's probably the more well-rounded guy. Like, who do I think can mix in the grappling out of the two of them? Probably Karl. And on the feet, I don't think it's a blowout. I think Karl's a pretty good striker in his own right, and if he mixes in the grappling with the threat of the takedown, I think this is a very winnable fight for him. But how can you trust the guy? He's impossible to trust. You just don't know which Karl's going to show up. Is he going to show up with good cardio or bad cardio? Is he going to show up durable or is he going to show up chinny? You just don't know. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. And then with Simeon Powell, he's still kind of green, I think. But I think they're doing a good job developing him. He's a really solid fighter. He clearly has a really high ceiling, long reach, long rangy guy. He uses it well. He's a good striker. He got pushed pretty hard by Xavier, but because, you know, 2 strikers and Powell, not the best wrestler. So Xavier was able to keep it on the feet, had a lot of power, and was able to hurt Powell a few times there. And don't forget, Albrechtson's got some power too. He hurt Dovlet in their fight. I think it was the second round. He knocked him down, I'm pretty sure, or brought him to a knee at least. And I wouldn't be shocked if Karl could crack him too, because Powell's been knocked out by Neto. Karl's been hurt by Xavier. So Powell, I don't know if I'm mixing their names up. Powell has been hurt by Xavier. Powell got knocked out by Neto. So I wouldn't be shocked if Karl hurt him either. But overall, I do think that Powell's the better striker, the cleaner striker. He uses that range really well. He's a sniper, nice combinations, and every aspect of his game is improving fight to fight. Good kicks as well. So it's a good, well-matched fight. It's a good step up for Simeon Powell to see where he's at. I'm going to go his way. I'm going to pick him just because it's hard to trust Karl Albrektsson right now. But if the price keeps going, I'm probably going to play Karl just out of principle because he's fought the much higher level of competition. And he's beaten some of those guys that I don't know that Simeon Powell would be able to beat. So at plus 170, I'm already kind of tempted, but I'm not dying to do it because of how inconsistent he is. But if it keeps going, I could get to a Karl play. I'm going to see because PFL gets a lot of late steam. I'm going to see how wide Powell goes, and then maybe I'll make a Karl play because, yeah, like Tristan's saying, minus 250 would be too high. If I can get something like plus 200 on Karl, I'll probably do it. But, yeah, Tristan also saying he's very hit or miss. But he's been competitive with a lot of good guys. So I'll go Powell for the decision, but I don't know. I don't know what's good with Karl Albrektsson these days. All right. Next up, we've got Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Carl Moore. A lot of Carls on this card, 3 of them. ACJ, Carlos Jr., he's 16-6-0, 35 years old, 6'2" with a 79-inch reach. On the other side, Moore, he's going to be 12-3-0, 33 years old. He's 2 years younger, 1 inch taller with a 4-inch reach disadvantage. I don't have a strong take here. I just couldn't get a good read on it. I lean towards Karl just because I feel like he's got more in the tank right now at this stage of his career. ACJ just seems to be on the decline. Like that performance against Polizzi, I love Polizzi. He's a grindy guy. I love the dude, like I said earlier. But like ACJ probably should have beaten him. You know, that was probably a winnable fight for him, and he kind of just fell apart and just didn't seem to really have the heart to get it done. So I don't really know where he's at in his career. And Karl Moore, you know, he lost pretty dominantly to Corey Anderson, but he never gave up, went all 5 rounds, put a decent account of himself. I just don't really see a huge edge for either guy. I mean, Carlos Jr., definitely the better jiu-jitsu guy. Moore's got pretty good jiu-jitsu in his own right, but it's not on the level of ACJ. Carlos Jr., he's a really, really high-level jiu-jitsu guy. He's got really good grappling. And this one's just tricky because on the feet, I think it's close. I think it's very close. I don't really edge either guy tremendously on the feet. I think maybe I lean a little bit towards Moore's fighting southpaw, kind of like his style on the feet. But like both of them are primarily grapplers. So that's where this gets funky. Who's going to get the takedowns? Who's going to be able to defend better? I don't really know. I kind of lean towards Moore having more success, having more success just because he's a bit of the fresher fighter. I can see him getting the takedowns. I can see him doing what Polizzi did, but maybe even a little bit better. His control is good too. Just has to stay safe from the jiu-jitsu of Antonio Carlos Jr., but Carlos Jr. slows down a lot. So if Moore can stay safe in the first, I think the second and third round, it'll be a lot easier for him. I lean his way on the feet. I think he'll be just a little bit of a better minute winner here. So I'll pick Karl Moore. Part of me wants to bet him, but it's like I just don't have a good read, and he's minus 145, so I don't want to push anything. PFL has not been my thing this year. In the past, it used to be my most profitable promotion, but this new era PFL, I have not been doing very well, so I'm doing my best to pick my spots. I thought I did that last week or last time with Impa, and he died, so we'll see what happens. But I think for this fight, I'm going to probably stay away unless maybe more money comes back in on ACJ. Then I can get to Karl. All right, next up, we've got the co-main event. We got Valentin Moldavsky versus Sergey Bilostenniy. Moldavsky, 13-4-0, 33 years old. He's 6'1" with a 75-inch reach. On the other side, Sergey, he's going to be 13-3-0. He's 29, so he's 4 years younger. Going to be the same height, but he did look bigger at face-offs and the same reach. This is a tricky one. Turns out they train together, which makes sense because I was Instagram stalking and I saw the Fedor posters in behind Sergey, and I was like, doesn't Valentin train with Fedor? So I guess both of them are at that camp, which is, you know, we've seen that story before. Which Karl, Glenbot? Karl Moore? Like we've seen that story before with training partners in the PFL, and it never worked. It never plays out very well. It's always kind of boring, tepid. But so that throws me off a little bit. This fight, it's tricky. I think it's dog or pass at the betting line. I do. I think that Valentin Moldavsky is probably the rightful favorite just because if we're going to take them as we know them, because I say that because Sergey's 29 and he is improving. So, but if we take away any assumptions on improvements and we just take what we have, like Moldavsky is the better guy. On the feet, I think it's close. I think Moldavsky's a bit better of a technical striker. He mixes it up really nice. I actually really like his striking because I love guys who use their jab a lot, and he uses that jab. And what he does, which I love, is he'll double and triple up on the jab before following it up. And I wish more fighters did it because why not? It opens up your offense so much. Offense is the best defense. And if you're popping up that jab and just constantly hitting your opponent in the face, it's hard for them to even put anything together. And then you can just follow up. So I love that about Moldavsky's game on the feet. I love that he targets the body. I think they're both good strikers. I think Sergey hits harder. I think he's got more of the knockout upside here, but I think Valentin's a little bit better of a technical striker, and I think his defense is a little bit better. My major concerns with Sergey are, I think the cardio is shaky. I know that he did look good against Blagoy in that he was able to throw a lot of volume and go 15 minutes. He answered a lot of questions there in terms of his cardio. But like Blagoy doesn't push a pace at all. Blagoy's not a great offensive wrestler. He did try, but he's not the best offensive wrestler. So, like, yeah, it was a good look, but he did look tired too. That's the thing. Like, yeah, he threw volume. Yeah, he was able to win a decision over a UFC vet, a solid one at that. But even in the second round, he was mouth open, breathing. He was gassed already. In the third round, he was very tired. And if the opponent was any different and it was a guy who could actually push the pace, that might have ended differently. The other problem is I'm not convinced that his takedown defense is up to par yet. His takedown defense seems to be getting better, but I don't have a lot of information on it recently. He did get taken down by Fortune before he got that heel hook. He got taken down pretty easily. So I just feel like Moldavsky's going to have the wrestling. He's going to have the cardio, and it's close on the feet. So I have to pick Moldavsky. I think he's definitely the rightful favorite. But in terms of career trajectory, I like Sergey's better. And I also did want to say, like, a lot of people are pointing to the Linton Vassell fight for Valentin and like saying like, oh, his cardio is not good either. The difference there is Linton Vassell is a really good wrestler and extremely physical guy. So Valentin, it wasn't easy for him to wrestle him. And because of all that grappling, he got tired because Vassell was able to push back and try to initiate his own wrestling and his own takedowns. Sergey doesn't have that. So I don't know that he can gas out Valentin. And I'm worried that he'll also get gassed out. Vassell, he's also a guy who tires out sometimes too, but I think he's just somebody who can tire out someone like Valentin more than someone like Sergey can. So just wanted to point that out. So for me, it's Moldavsky as the pick. It is dog or pass. I'm very tempted on a play on Sergey because he is improving. His cardio does seem to be getting better. His takedown defense does seem to be getting better. And he's a good, dangerous striker with power. So if the price gets a little bit nicer, I'll probably get in. But right now I'm just sitting it out and waiting to see what happens because it's a tricky one. I'm not super confident that Sergey gets the upset, but I think he can. All right, our main event, we got Phil Davis versus Rob Wilkinson. Davis 24-7-0. He's 40 years old, 6'2" with a 78-inch reach. Wilkinson 19-3-0. He's 33. He's 7 years younger, 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. I have no idea what to make of this fight. I went into it thinking maybe Davis would be value, but as I was taping it, the line dropped. Now he's plus 110, and I'm not really seeing any value because I don't have any tape of Wilkinson getting taken down. I don't have any tape of it at all. There's very few fights where anybody's even attempting to take him down, but when they are, he has really good takedown defense. Against Dovlet, I think he only had to defend like 2, but he defended them very well. Against Silveira also shot only a couple times, but he defended very well. Silveira, I think, took the back in the 3rd round, but he fell off, and he did that like standing too. It wasn't a takedown, if I'm not mistaken. So I just don't know what Wilkinson's takedown defense really is going to be like against somebody who's going to really push the wrestling like Phil Davis. I feel like it's probably good enough to keep it on the feet, and then on the feet, I think he's better than Davis. I think he's the better striker. I think he's got more power. And the other thing is, I feel like Davis is like he does slow down quite a bit. Against Corey Anderson, after that 1st round, he was huffing and puffing. And that was after the 1st round. And if he's failing on the takedowns here, I can see him really slowing down and Wilkinson may be being able to take over and get it done. So for me, it's a tricky fight. Not super confident in either way. If Wilkinson became the underdog, then I'd be kind of interested because I feel like he can keep it on the feet and then just beat up on Davis on the feet standing. But I also would have been down for Davis at like plus 150 or something because the wrestling upside is there. And I don't hate Davis by decision. Plus 200 I saw in Bet Rivers. I kind of like that. That's not bad at all. It's just like I wish I had, if I'm gonna backfill Davis, I wish I had tape of Wilkinson actually being taken down and grinded out, and I don't. So I can't really make assumptions. And at 40 years old, at plus 110, that's not a price in a situation where I want to make those assumptions. So I'll pick Rob. For the method, I don't even know. I guess decision. We'll go Rob decision, but I'm not confident in that pick at all. And that's it, guys. That's it. That's PFL. Round 1, Part 4, 2025. Most ridiculous name ever. I'll run through the picks one more time, and then we'll get out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check out my UFC breakdown video. I posted it yesterday, and I'll be doing the shorts tomorrow. All right. We're going Polizzi, Badogger Pass, Babley, Cauley, Popov, Romanov, Powell, Moore, Moldavsky, but Dogger Pass, and Wilkinson, I guess. But Dogger Pass? I don't even know. And that's it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you as well. Grateful, dude. And I'll catch you guys next time.